in this way, we are creating a new culture that regenerates the planet and people.
Hi, another episode of Freedom Culture Podcast here from the jungle in Punta Mona. Right now I'm sitting here with Kelly.
Hello. How's it going?
So good. I'm so happy you're here. We've been hanging out in the podcast zone here for the last hour or so, and I'm so glad we get to talk. New Earth Now. This is the company you've created, and since I talk about Earth Vision a lot and love to ask people what they want this planet to be, I couldn't imagine a better kind of call to action or company name.
Thank you so
I
much.
want to acknowledge that.
It just came to me.
Nice. Kelly, where can we start? Maybe let me start first with the context of Freedom Culture, because we're meeting in the jungle in Punta Mona.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Freedom Culture really feel like to you?
Honestly, freedom culture is when people can truly live in alignment with their own values and have that freedom to pursue their purpose, to pursue their passion. You know, true freedom is really when we're living in a world where we can choose the way that we create the world that we live in. Because I feel like we say that there's freedom in the way that we're living in normal society, you know, getting the 9-to-5 jobs and having to go to school, but really that's putting people in boxes. So you're putting people in a box of having to do live a certain way and having to, you know, make money in a corporate job just to survive. And I think freedom is when you can go out here in Punta Mona and pick fresh cacao pod off of the tree and just eat that straight from, and you could just walk around the property and just grab all these different fruits and veggies and leafy greens and all these amazing things and live in a way where you can live off of the land. You can get energy from the solar power. You can, have your waste be something that's not just wasting water or wasting fuel, but living in a way where we have the freedom to truly live in alignment with our values, to regenerate the planet, to pursue our passion and our full potential, and just really live in the way that we desire.
Triple bottom line: profit, planet, people.
That's right. Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah, I think freedom for me in that context also means if I could walk down the street in any city I choose to and pick up fruit from a tree, like edible fruit or food gardens that are, I think they're coming. I've seen some on Vancouver Island and Victoria and in other places. San Francisco has some of those.
Mm-hmm. That's the way that we should be living in our cities. You know, we shouldn't have to waste all this gas for transportation to bring all of this food from. And, you know, this is how Stephen Brooks started Punta Mona, was because he saw the banana plantations with the blue bags on them, and those are just chemicals to make the peel more yellow so that we'll buy it. And he saw these crop dusters come across, and the crop duster went over some kids that were playing soccer.
Yeah, totally.
And it just made him so upset. And it's like, why are we not just
spraying the children?
Yeah.
Just to grow better Chiquita bananas.
It's terrible.
I said Chiquita. That's all right. We all know what's up, right? So I think, living in an organic or permaculture-based way or principles that are following permaculture in the public spaces we are co-creating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about creating the environment.
Is the New Earth Now.
Yes. So we're going to live in an environment where we can pick our own food, where we can have our housing be completely made of 100% sustainable materials, where we can get energy from the sun. And in this way, we are creating a new culture that regenerates the planet and people. So I believe that's so much more valuable.
Regenerating the planet and people. So I'm really curious because you have a background in real estate, and that is such a, powerful way to create your own reality, to create wealth and abundance and prosperity in your own life, and at the same time affect the public spaces we build and how we share spaces and land or apartments or houses. So what do you see? Where's the merging point between maybe the business of real estate, right, and also the way we shape public spaces, the way we live?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful that I was able to gain so much experience doing real estate, because I was able to cultivate the knowledge of how development works in the normal world, where you go to city planning and they have all these regulations that you have to go through. And the processes and getting all the contractors in place and what materials you use. So now a new way of building that's actually sustainable and regenerative is just simple little tweaks. So all we have to do is go and find materials that are locally sourced. Like on Punta they just find wood that's fallen from a tree. Now we have hempcrete, limestone. We can build different types of structures like dome buildings. We can integrate water systems and use biodegradable soap, so then that water can now go towards the land. So it's just these simple tweaks that reintegrate all of these sustainable ways of living, but making it convenient for us who we don't want to go live out in the jungle. We want to live in modern society. We still want to be with our own community. Like I'm from San Diego and Sacramento, where it's
Yay, San Diego, by the way.
Yeah.
What a place.
It's all big cities.
Yeah.
And so when we can start bringing that sustainability to these beautiful mansion ocean view houses and or even just normal subdevelopments in the middle class, then we can start living in a way that is in alignment with creating a better world. So the whole goal is to eventually create cities that live in this way. So we have futuristic city design that utilizes transportation that's all electric. We have shared resources. We know where our resources are coming from. And we are all just sharing in the food that's locally grown, and that's what's going into the grocery stores. That's what's going into the restaurants. We have new forms of healthcare that actually sees what is going on in your body with health tests and your nutrients. And then we're making recommendations based on food, or there's even new technology like stem cell therapy. And then there's also new forms of education like that we can utilize for having kids really pursue what they want to pursue and their passions, rather than us telling them what they need to learn. And then going and actually having experiential learning through research centers or things of that nature. So a lot of these concepts that I'm talking about are coming from the Venus Project. If you haven't heard of it, check out. They have a documentary called Paradise or Oblivion, and it's just absolutely
powerful, the Venus Project.
Oh, it's wonderful.
What it put out there into the sphere of possibilities, I guess,
Yeah, and it's all about living in a resource-based economy, so intelligently managing Earth's resources. And the reason why I truly believe in this so much is because this can help eradicate human suffering. We have homelessness and hunger and poverty right now, but if we just form an environment where people have access to resources, where all their basic needs are met, we can really create a high-quality lifestyle for every single being on Earth, and that's what I'm here to help with.
Wow. Yeah, that's certainly part of my mission as well. So, would you want to just share a little bit more about New Earth Now as a business itself? So, what do you need help with?
Ooh, good question. New Earth Now is my company for sustainable and regenerative consulting. So right now I am going to development companies that don't really know much about sustainability. Well, recently I've been partnering with people who do want that sustainability aspect to gain experience. I was working with a company called City Green, where they were building a 200-acre property, 100% renewable energy, steel frame container homes. And so what my idea is to use New Earth Now to now go into these companies that don't really understand how to build sustainably. For example, the fires in California, the normal way to build houses is with wood, right? And that's wasting a lot of resources. We're cutting down rainforests and all this beautiful, beautiful things to build these houses that are getting burned down.
What would happen if they were built out of hempcrete, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that's what I think we could now utilize. And so my goal is to go into these cities and implement new policies in the way that we're building, go to development companies, say, hey, I have a way that you can do it cheaper, like less expensive, and actually, people won't have to have bills anymore because they'll gain their energy from solar. They're going to get food that's right off of the land, and they're going to get their water from rainwater. And of course, cities still want you to be connected and plugged in, so you can still get the city water and you can get the electricity from them if needed. For security and safety reasons, but you can also have the other option to live in a more harmonious way. So if we can get this out to as many construction companies, development companies, investors, people who are interested in building cities. That is really what's going to revolutionize everything. And then from that piece, going out to underdeveloped countries where we can then start teaching them, hey, you can build your you could build your city or your shelter from the resources right there. And you can grow your own abundant food right there where you're living. And then these underdeveloped countries are no longer going to have to live in poverty anymore because we're going to give them the resources to be able to do it.
Cool. There's a lot of vision pieces to, I guess, this New Earth now, because a lot of it happens across a timeline of probably multiple decades, you know? So it's very curious, I guess, to accept also that there's a not knowing component of how this new Earth is continuing to unfold across the planet. So I want to ask you a more personal question. Like, what is not knowing? Like, maybe give us an example. When is the last time you were able to admit that you didn't know?
Oh my gosh, I admit that I don't know all the time. Like, I can tell you, like, Henry Ford, the way that he built his company, he didn't really know much, but he had people who knew a lot. And that's where I see my skill set is bringing all these amazing people that have all these expertises together so that we can build in this new way. I'm not the one who's an expert in the way that, we build hempcrete houses or permaculture. Stephen Brooks is an expert in permaculture, so I have him, and he could come in and do the permaculture for the properties. So
totally.
I really don't know much except my vision for upholding what I know is possible.
That's a very amazing place to hang out in. So it sounds like you're always ready to accept that you might not know. Yeah. And you're really able and happy to ask for help.
Of course. Always asking, always learning, always growing. That's
like
where
a prerequisite, right? Yeah. It's a skill set I think I had to practice over the years myself, and even though I feel really rehearsed and good and happy in not knowing and ask for help, possibly even especially as a man, there are these moments when I'm like, wow, maybe I should just ask for help again, because help is really just such a beautiful way to connect and relate with people. The place of being in service to each other.
One thing I would say to ask for is people to be involved with whoever is interested in this sustainability or has ideas to come together and form this co-creative company. I would say I have on my website a Get Involved page where there's a lot of resources where people can help out and bring in their insights, but also just helping find these companies that we can go to help. So, there's many ways that people can help. It's just about bringing ideas together.
Bringing ideas together. So we're together in the jungle right now with 100-ish people.
Yeah.
We're a mastermind.
Yeah.
Right? Like a context or a container where people who are expressing their authentic self already and wanting more of that authenticity in their craft, bettering their skill, being masters at certain elements of the craft. And we're raising the shared cultural flag of freedom culture. How do you see freedom culture play a complementary role around the world? Because you said earlier that, freedom culture is something that it's like a felt place of relating in the sense almost, but it's not necessarily lived everywhere, truly. There are different ways that we try to create freedom through material possessions or status or whatever. So how do you see freedom culture being a complement to this timeline that you kind of laid out about how the world will, well, not just hopefully, but it already is, like, provably kind of adjusting to this climate catastrophe that might be one of the triggers for us to unite over? How does freedom culture play a complement?
Being here at the Mastermind has been so transformational for me because I'm around people that are so beautifully expressing their gifts to the world and living their passions and their purpose. And so I think that when we can bring that out into the world and all of these people who are stuck in jobs they don't like or doing things just for money or just for profit can now wake up to realize, oh wow, there's a whole world out there that really cares about our future generations, that cares about the planet. And so bringing that culture to the outside world is going to be really amazing. And also, there's been a lot of internal work here too. So like you said, with authenticity, and for me, it's been vulnerability. So sharing more of my vulnerability to the world to be more relatable, so people can see that I don't come from a place of completely knowing everything, but I'm still having the courage to be here, to pursue my dreams, to meet some of the greatest minds that sometimes I'm super intimidated to meet. I didn't even know if I wanted to do this podcast because I was like, is my story worth sharing? And, so...
Yeah, well, all of our stories are really worth sharing, and that's the beautiful part, right?
Yeah.
Bringing yourself to a room that you might, by design, not be the smartest person in the room is an act of courage and an act of like curiosity. And I think that's a little bit what my question was leading into. This idea of how does culture facilitate this shift that we're experiencing? Because we know old paradigm cultures or old paradigm conditioning doesn't necessarily facilitate it. And a lot of people go into their transformative or transformational journey either triggered through contrast that they experience in their life or trauma, or by design, by quest, by deliberate asking. So let me maybe ask you a question to kind of drop into your own vulnerability here.
Thank you. Let's do it. I'm ready.
When's the last time you fucked up?
Oh man, this is the best question you could have asked me, because I would love to admit this and be 100% vulnerable right now. I completely fucked up when I last year, or no, it was the end of 2017. And I had a lot of money saved up in my bank account from all the real estate that I had done. And this is when I went on the sustainable living tour, and I could have used that money to start building a community. And what I did instead was I thought I was setting myself up to create more income for myself by buying, I bought 4 houses. And because the profit that I was going to get on that was going to make me, way over 6 figures for the next year. And I completely fucked up in that moment, because I could have basically used that money to build a sustainable community, but instead I bought these houses, and those houses ended up losing me basically everything that I had ever saved up for. And
wow.
And so
that is an incredibly kind of tragic story on the personal level, but then also such a clear, you're asking for a dream, you're ready to invest into it, and yet somehow you're following the greed of just taking even better care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I absolutely understand and can relate how money has this ability to, have us desire even more of it, which is such an interesting thing, because what we truly are craving is both the money and the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's exactly how I felt. I felt like I just always wanted more and more, and that's what real estate does a lot to people. And so I'm really
thank you for sharing this. Yeah,
you're welcome. And I'm really here to help people see that money is not what you're really truly working for. It's really to make a difference in the world. And so everybody that feels that they have to do something to, let's say something that they don't like, or something just to make money before they pursue their dreams, don't do any of that. It's not going to make a difference. Go straight into living your dreams.
Boom. Go straight into living your dreams. I love it.
That's the whole mission, is to just have people who have these passions live their dreams, go get information from people who are already doing it. That's why I'm here right now.
Totally.
And just start doing it and taking action. And who cares if you mess up in the beginning? It's going to be a lot better than spending 5 years of your life doing something you don't like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I concur. This is so relatable to my own life experience. Don't wait, act. Is there anything else you'd like to share, or anything you'd like to add where people can find you, how people can connect with you to be part of New Earth Now?
Yeah, newearthnow.world is my website, so you can kind of see a little bit more about what I do on there and connect with me. Also, Kelly Krezek on Facebook, Instagram, KellyKrez as in zebra, EK.
Kelly Krezek.
Yeah, so
People reach out. This is awesome. Be part of this movement, because I guess the New Earth Now also means we're living Earth together, and relating to each other is really number one. I think all of us crave connection, and I think one of it is business, one of it is friendship, one of it is maybe relationship. But as humans, I feel like this next level of collaboration, that won't happen by itself either. We need to actually act and step into it. Yeah,
is everything. So if anybody wants to collaborate on this, or is inspired by my message, or is inspired and wants to build communities, or wants to even play a single small part in it, like permaculture, like water systems, like healthcare, education, anything, please bring me your ideas and let's work together to make the world a better place.
Sweet. Thank you, Kelly, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah.
We explored a lot deeper than I thought we would, which is obviously
Same here.
super
Same
amazing.
here. But let's go back into the jungle and throw it into the fire and start the next day. I think this is the great thing about exploring deeper than our boundaries. We're anticipating something to go. It's truly, when we're real with ourselves, we allow ourselves to know ourselves. And when I know myself, I can be a better human for this world we're dreaming up.
Thank you so much
thank you
for
once
what
again.
you do.